Success leaves clues. In other words, if someone is successful, not once, not twice, but continuously, they're not lucky. There's something they're doing that's making their life extraordinary. If someone has lost weight and kept it off for 8 years, and they're fit and strong and healthy, they did something different than other people. They aren't lucky. They aren't just born with a great metabolism because they used to be fat, right? If somebody has gone from broke to financially wealthy and they maintain that for 10 or 20 years, they aren't lucky. They're doing something different. Instead of envying them, or instead of just thinking they're lucky or liking them, learn from them. But who do most of us learn from? Whether we know it or not, who we spend time with is who we become. And we spend time with people we love, people that are our friends, most of which came to us by proximity. We went to work with these people. We went to school with these people. It was not something was like, here's the ideal person to learn from. It's like, this is somebody that I enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that, but they shouldn't be your teacher.
Get around successful people and listen. Now, you can also learn from unsuccessful people. Take notes on both, negative and positive. On the negative, the notes are called what not to do. And you got to learn what not to do as well as what to do. So learn from the negative as well as the positive. Okay? Find out what poor people read and don't read it. Right? That's good information. Learn from the negative. But now you can also learn from the positive. Get around successful people. Listen to what they say. Listen to how they say it. It's important. We've all got about 16 waking hours. Practice listening those 16 hours. And I say practice listening because listening isn't easy. I found out it's easier to talk than it is to listen. But if you will practice listening the 16 hours you're awake, sure enough, from surprising sources comes great ideas. In sales training we teach, if you want to learn sales, listen to the kids. Kids have got to be the master salespeople of all time. They have no equal. Father tells his young son, no, you cannot have an ice cream cone. 30 minutes later, he's licking on one. That'd be 30 minutes worth listening to. They got moves you wouldn't believe. Persistence runs deep like the ocean. And the kids never took a class on how to overcome objections. They already know how. They don't need classes. You tell kids no. That goes right on by. They give you 3 good reasons. Just say no. It goes right on by. They give you 3 more. They're masters. So listen and learn.
Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is trumped every day by execution. And if you really want to change your life, you can't let the learning you have here lead to knowledge or become an idiot. You got to let your learning lead to action, and then you can become wealthy financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and everything else. So that's going to be my focus with you here. The problem is when you are learning in the way we've traditionally learned, it was preparing you for a different world than the one we're in. You were supposed to sit passively. When you report to your position when the bell rings, and then what do? Talk to your neighbor? Initiate? Make shit happen? No, what are you supposed to do? Sit down and what, guys? What are you supposed to do? Shut up. Don't talk to you. Today, if you're in business, you don't talk to your neighbor, you're out of business. Who's with me here? Say I. If you wait for someone to tell you what to do in business, it's over. Your competition has taken you. So we live in a different world. And here's the problem. You're still learning the way you were taught to learn. So right now, you're all being very nice to me. I have no complaint. You're being very sweet. But you're sitting in a passive state. And let me explain why that's difficult. Who's ever done this? How many of you have ever gone to an environment where you learned something? Could be a university environment, could have been a business environment, could have been a seminar. And you learned something you truly thought was extremely useful. It wasn't somebody selling you. You're like, this is good stuff. This will change my business. This will change my life. And you were excited about it. And then you went home and you never actually applied a frickin' thing that you learned. Who's ever done this before? Raise your hand and shout, I. Who's done this more than once? Say, I. Who still feels intelligent? Say, I. You're confused.
Now, here's some of the best advice I've got for the whole evening. It won't get any better than this. This is it. Poor people ought to take rich people out to dinner and listen. That's some of the best I got. If a guy's not doing well, one of the first things he ought to do is find a guy that is doing well and offer to buy him his dinner. Spend $50, $60, $80, $100. Go for the full 9 course. Start him on the juices and hors d'oeuvres. Get him started talking. The salad takes 15 minutes. Keep it rolling. Biggest steak in town takes 45. Keep it rolling. Pour on the dessert. Stretch that meal out about 2 hours. If you get a successful person to eat and talk for 2 hours, they're liable to drop ideas in your lap, change your life. Multiply your income by 2, by 3, by 5. But you're right. Poor people don't usually take rich people out to dinner. That's the problem. The guy said he's rich, let him buy his own dinner. I'm not coming up with any money. And he says, besides, you work where I work, by the time you struggle home, it's late. You're lucky to get your own supper, let alone running around trying to find a rich man to feed. And the guy's behind on his house payment. Good worker, hard worker, sincere. But you got to be better than sincere. Work hard. You wind up broke. You got to be better than a good worker. You got to be a good listener. And remember, what you read and what you hear, put the good stuff in your journal.
Everything that you do is supposed to be motivated by your vision. Everything. Vision is supposed to be the source of your human motivation. It simplifies your life. Do you know why most people are actually poor? I know why they're poor. Poverty, like we learned last night, it's not a problem. It's a result. Most people are poor because no one knows who they are. What do we mean by that? Vision helps you identify yourself before the people in the world. And because they know who you are, they know what to come to you for. Let me give you another statement, very important. This is so important. If you want to be successful, write this down, do not seek success. Seek to become a person of value. Again, if you want to be successful in life, do not seek success. Seek to become a person of value. In other words, write it this way, make yourself valuable and they'll pay for you. Make yourself valuable and people will pay for you. That is what we do with gold, silver. How about gasoline, water? Our society has made these things what? Valuable. So we do what? We pay a lot of money for them because we made them valuable. Well, make yourself just like gold. In other words, develop a gift in your life that has become so valuable to everybody else that they will pay you to perform it. Les Brown and I were chatting one day, and we became good friends over the past 10 years or so. And one day we were chatting, we were doing a conference together, and I was telling him about this invitation I got to go and speak to this company. And I said, how much should I request as a fee from this company? And he said, how much do you think you are worth to that company? I said, I don't know. I was just starting in that particular area of the business of public speaking. And I said, I don't know, maybe $4,000 or $5,000. He said, that's all you think you're worth? I said, they only want me to speak for an hour and a half. He said, that's what you think you're worth? I said, how much do you charge them for an hour and a half? He said, $25,000, starting price. He said, if you charge them less than that, I'm ashamed of you. He said, you better than me. And he was serious about it. So I filled out a contract and put $25,000. The check was in the mail the next day. Make yourself a person of value. Don't seek success. Let me give you another example of how it works. If someone had to think about something that reminded them of you, what would it be? That's a serious question. Because if they never think about you, that means you have never made yourself valuable. You have become a jack of too many trades, so you master.
Now here's the third way to find out how to change your life, and that's to observe. You can pick up a lot of ideas just by watching. Get around successful people and watch. Here's why. Success leaves clues. Watch how the man shakes hands. Watch how the lady responds. People who do well do certain things over and over and over and over. And if you're clever, you can pick them up. Watch it all. If a guy's making $10,000 a month, I'd watch how he walks. Maybe that's it. Copy his funny little walk. Somebody says, well, that's kind of a silly walk. Say, it's 10,000. I haven't got the money yet, but I got the walk. It's bound to start somewhere. What I ask you tonight is to be unusual and be a good observer of what's going on. You can pick up ideas that can change your life starting tomorrow. Just be a more careful observer. Now remember, there's two ways to see. One is called sight. See with your eyes. The other one is called insight. See with your mind. See with your eyes, you'll see things. See with your mind, you'll see answers. Put your eyes and your mind to work. And the best advice on developing sight and insight is pay attention. Don't miss anything. In the weekend seminar we teach, one of the greatest fatalities to success is preoccupation, lack of concentration. The guy's mind wanders. See, you wind up average. You've got to learn to zero in and concentrate. I read a good article one time, Reader's Digest. The title was, "Wherever you are, be there." Excellent. Don't miss anything.
You may have read my book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Sometimes I speak about Ferraris because I don't have a Ferrari, but I love the way that Ferrari rolls. And here's what I mean by that. A Ferrari is in many ways mobile art on four tires. A Ferrari in so many ways is a distillation of Enzo Ferrari's philosophy on mastery. A Ferrari in so many ways is a reminder to you and me about what world class stands for. And what I want to really dial into today is this. Did you know that every year Ferrari only produces 7,000 Ferraris? And the point of wisdom or the powerful idea I want you to really think about and deconstruct in your journal tonight after this mastery session is, why go really wide when you can be singularly deep? I'm going to repeat that again. But a great company and a great performer goes really, really deep on one or two things, and that's how you rise to iconic. We live in a world, I call it the cult of superficiality, addicted to distraction, afflicted by interruption. So we take the trinity of our performance assets, our mental focus, our physical energy, and our willpower. Those are the three primary assets of a world-class producer. And we diffuse them, we disperse them around thousands of projects, lots of little things. And yet I think of the 7,000 Ferrari philosophy. You know, they are world-class in terms of producing iconic automobiles, vehicles, but they don't want to be, they don't appeal to everyone. They don't produce hundreds of thousands of vehicles. They want to do a few products. They want to bring out a few things, but do them really, really well. And that's really the craftsman's mindset. That's how craftsmen think, or craftswomen. It's do a few things, but do them really, really well. You are an artist. My invitation to you is to produce poetry in terms of your work that the world reveals as mastery. You know, and that is really all about bringing rigor to your game. It's not about doing a lot of things, it's about doing one thing well. Because the secret of genius is not complexity, the secret of genius is simplicity. You look at any genius entrepreneur, you look at any genius producer, you look at any genius athlete, they're not doing 5 sports, they're doing one sport incredibly well and then putting in the training time to be monomaniacally focused so that they become otherworldly brilliant at their one thing. And I guess what I'm suggesting to you ultimately is this. Think about the 7,000 Ferraris philosophy. And if you are a business builder, let's say you're a startup entrepreneur, let's say you're a Fortune 500 manager, let's say you're a professional athlete, because a lot of professional athletes are watching these mastery sessions. Let's say you are a mother or father, a yoga teacher, or a chef. What are the few things that you could actually do in your work so that you take all of your mental focus, your physical energy, and the willpower that you wake up with every single morning, and you really monomaniacally focus those trinity of performance assets on the few things, the few projects that, when consistently iterated and improved every day over time, will allow you to reach a place where the world calls you world class. And if you can not only get this idea on the 7,000 Ferraris philosophy, but apply it so it becomes a way of being, you really will own your game.
you.